Hi and welcome to this video log with me, Wayne, from swimmingcyclingrunning.com. Well, this is the second in 2 days, and that's because I just found out yesterday that Amari is in Barbados at the Caribbean Championships from the 28th to the 3rd, and she's doing 50 fly, 50 free, 50 breast, 100 breast and 200 breast. So she's a very all-round swimmer, but I know we can do something in the short term in her shorter races with fly and freestyle. I did fly yesterday, I'm going to do freestyle today. So we're going to go to the computer, have a look at Amari in her last 50 championships, and just see where we can improve.
We're now going to look at the 50 freestyle final. Once again, Amari is in lane 5. Lane 4 is the fastest swimmer, and she's actually going to win it, but not by much. And what we're going to do initially is just take a look at it as it goes and time it, and I'm going to count strokes. So they're off. I think you'll note Amari comes up before the girl next to her. She looks strong, but she looks like she's rushing it a bit with slightly bent arms. Remember, I've stabilised this footage, so the edge might be shifting, but the actual swimmers should not be. Strong. And this time, she holds her head down. That's the touch, and I got 28.14. I actually got 56 strokes that she took in that length. So that's a 50 metre length, 56 strokes. I think that's slightly short, but we'll come on to that as we do the analysis next. Now we're going to just have a look at what Amari is doing. I've just zoomed in a bit on this, which means the quality has got even worse, I'm afraid. But that's what we'll do. We're just going to go to slow motion. And remember, she's in lane 5, which is the second yellow lane. It seems the right arm, is chopping a bit. She just took a breath after 13 strokes, and her head seemed to come out the water. We're going to slow this down as she comes closer to us. I think she took a breath in that glared bit. She certainly took a breath there. Took a breath to the left there. Oh, that was virtually came to a stop. Now I want you to look at that again, because she virtually came to a stop breathing to the left. And the reason for that is she's breathing incredibly early in the stroke. So what she's actually done is pushed herself upwards. And she's breathing far too early in the stroke. If we go forward to the next breath. Alright, so what's happening is she's breathing, starting to breathe there. She's turning her head to breathe there. And you can see where her arm is. I mean, effectively, her arm is there. Yeah, or should I say there. That's far too early to bring your head out the water. But if you do bring your head out the water there, your body is actually going to be flat in the water. And to raise your head when your body's flat, to breathe when your body's flat, the only thing you can do is actually raise your head out the water. And that's exactly what she does. You can see that head come up and then go down again. Now, if she breathed there, you can see her head would be much lower, because it's naturally lower as you bring your arm out the water. So we really want to see her breathing slightly later to hold her head lower, because her head rising like that is going to actually slow her down. You can see physically slowing down when she does that. That's something we have to improve.
Now, I said yesterday that you have to think of your head as 10 pounds of ugly fat, and that's true in freestyle, even truer in freestyle than it is in butterfly. Because butterfly, you have to raise your head forward, or you have to raise your head out the water to breathe, because both of your arms are coming through at the same time. In freestyle, you actually don't. You can actually just rotate and breathe in the trough, and any time you raise your head, that is slowing you down, because if something rises at the front, you can bet your bottom dollar something's drooping at the back or drooping in the middle as you arch your back. She's breathing very early. I don't particularly like that. Plus, she breathed 8 times in a length. Now, with breathing after the first 13 strokes and taking 56 strokes in a length, if she had a strategy of breathing after the first 13, then every 6 strokes, she would actually cut her breathing down by 1 stroke. Now you might not think that's a lot, but she didn't lose that race by a lot. And I think she could do better by even reducing her breathing by 1 stroke in a length. Another thing she can immediately do is, you saw in that race how she breathed to the left and virtually came to a standstill. In fact, you see people surge past her at that point. So in races, you always breathe to your preferred side. That's a given. You want to balance up your stroke if you can by breathing every 3 or 5 or breathing one side then the other in practice. But when you get into a race, it's all about speed. And if you can be speedier breathing to one side than the other, then it makes ultimate sense just to breathe to that side in a race. You're no longer trying to balance up your stroke, because if your stroke isn't balanced, as we saw there because of the lifting of the head, then it doesn't matter once you're in a race. If you're more balanced one side than the other, take it, because you're going to be faster. Okay, let's just go back to the computer and have another look.
The other thing I can think we can address in the short term are Amari's arms. Now, if we look at her right arm here, it's out the water and then seems to chop in really early. It seems to actually be hitting the water there. Now, if you're dragging your arm through the water there, you're pushing yourself backwards. That's no good. We really want to have a higher arm than that. Now, I think for Amari, probably a straighter arm would actually be better. I'm going to wait till she comes next to us before I slow it down again. She's actually pulling her arm over there much better, but I think a straighter arm will stop her focusing on her hand and allow her to bring that arm over much faster. The left arm all the way out, really nicely extended, but the right arm, I think, chops a bit, and you can see it coming through the water there. I mean, part of that might be her raising her head and she's actually falling back in the water, but you can see it pushing through the water, the upper arm pushing through the water and entering early. She needs some. It's also because she's breathing left, and I don't think Amari should be breathing left in races. Now note, she's a much faster swimmer than the girls around her, but that breathing has really dragged her back. She's really taking it out of the other swimmers now. And when her head's in the water, that arm's coming forward. But a slightly straighter arm would be able to get it there, I think, a lot faster. And again, as she breathes, she really slows down. She needs to keep that head much lower.
So I think there's a few things Amari can do in the practices she does at this championships to actually speed her up. The first thing is breathing later. If she breathes later, her head will naturally be down in the water. The second thing is breathing only to the right, because she seems better at breathing to the right than she does to the left. Third thing, plan your breathing strategy. After 13, then every 6, and you'll reduce your breathing in the length by 1. And lastly, straighten that arm a bit so you come all the way out of the water, slightly higher, into your catch position. You're very strong. We really want you to hold that water well out and not drag your arm through the water. Remember, you're breathing as you exit and then forward into that position. And if you come forward into that position, you'll naturally be in the catch position, ready to drive through. And you're strong enough to dig quite deep, so that could be useful. Okay, so that's it for now. The breaststroke will take longer. There are things in the breaststroke we can improve, but you shouldn't really work on that for this particular championships. But I think those things with the butterfly and the freestyle you can work on at this championships in your practices, making sure that you guarantee yourself a better race than you did the last time. After all, a race is only a bad race if you don't learn from it. The time is irrelevant in most races. Yes, you might win or you might lose, but if you can learn something from racing, then it's all been worthwhile, even if you didn't get the result you may have wanted. Okay, that's it for this particular vlog. Good luck to Amari in those championships in Barbados. We wish you all the luck, and I'm sure the whole of the YouTube community does as well. See you next time.